Welcome into this episode of Coach's Corner. Jordan Woodruff with you. Great to have you along. As today we are joined by Heather Harris, coach of the boys and girls swim teams. And Coach, great to have you along. And swimming in the winter. You guys do it indoors, so it's all good.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, it's been a good season so far. I think trying to finish up our dual meet season, going to championship season. We have a couple meets coming up. We're actually leaving for Stillwater at 3 today. We're going to swim Norman Schools, Stillwater, and Carl Albert, who are the reigning 5A state champs. I think it'll be some good competition tonight. And then Thursday night is our last dual meet, and it's senior night against Enid and Bishop Kelly. So hopefully everybody comes out for that.
What's senior night like with swimming? I mean, football, it's like we're going to do some of it before, some of it at halftime. Like swimming, how do you, because you have all this, do you do stuff before?
Yeah, we usually do it during our break. We have a natural break between the 50 free and the 100 fly, but I think this year we're going to do it at the beginning. We have, I think, 8 seniors that we're recognizing. So we're going to try to do that before the meet starts. And we just announce them with they have like a bio that they announce. They're with their parents. I mean, typical senior night stuff.
Yeah, and good group of seniors. They've accomplished a lot.
Yeah, graduating some really good talent. Of course, Maddie and Jess and Alyssa Sullivan, she's been swimming a long time. Anna Payne's been swimming a long time. Alyssa Cannon's been swimming a long time. Then we got a foreign exchange student, Sophia. She's done well this year. We usually recognize the foreign exchange students because they're only on our team for 1 year. And then Saxon Lorette, he's also been swimming a long time. And then Talon Lane, he came in from football. Pretty good little swimmer. So yeah, good group, and I think I got everybody there. So
yeah. And like I said, they had a great year last year, and you're heading into championship season, so you're hoping to have another good year coming up.
Yeah, I think the girls will, state-wise, I think anywhere from 3rd to 8th place is anybody's game. First and second, Jinx and Bartlesville, they're just so stacked, and it's hard to chop them down. Like, we have the talent, but they just have, like, number,
Right.
and lots of talent. Like, so boys, I'm hoping to get some relays qualified, some individuals qualified, and we'll see what we can do.
You mentioned that, and we say this often, but the sports... and swimming, I don't think what you call a country club type sport. Right. Even though but the sports that have these cities, it's a lot of times easier for them as far as because they have more pool of talent maybe to draw from. So it's tough to. I mean, when you get a top 5 finish, that's almost equivalent of a championship in places like Ponca City, right?
Yeah, the metros have like people moving in and out all the time. Even Enid with the Air Force Base, they have 33 kids. We have 20, and we're in an island up here, which is good and also hurts us. So, Bartlesville, I think they still have people moving in. Yeah. They always have a very talented team. But yeah, it's huge. What we did last year is huge. I'm just hoping we do as well as we did last year, which I think if everyone steps up, we have 3, I think, big place finishers that are going to happen this year, but we also need a couple more to just really step up there and get top 16 if they can and qualify, and the talent is there. It's just everything has to come together like we've talked about. But yeah, it's difficult to do what we did. It is a big deal. And because we just don't have people moving in like everybody else does.
That's one thing I kind of get at when you talk about there's certain sports. The sports, I think basketball and football, they can benefit. Some of those schools benefit as well, but those sports that have the specialized skills, there's not as many people do swimming across the nation as what they do basketball or what they do football or what they do baseball, softball. Yeah. So those sports that have those specialized skills, it's tough to really have a good program outside of the metros.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Swimming in Oklahoma in general is not that. It's just not. People don't think like, oh, you swim. Like basketball.
They think you went to the lake on a boat.
Exactly, right? Yeah. And people still to this day will be like, "Oh, Ponca has a team." I'm like, "Yes, we have a team," and but I think I'm not the only one that feels that. You know,
yeah.
I mean, it's just like it's.
You talk to other
swimming
coaches.
is a sport, yeah. It's not big here, which I wish it was. You know, I wish
until
it
the
was
Olympics.
Until
Once
the
every 4
Olympics.
years, we get
Yeah.
everybody gets really into it.
Yeah, and you know, people sometimes don't even know like that we have like as nice a pool we do. We have one of the nicest like competition pools in the state, really. And people come here and they're like, "Man, I would give anything to have that." And I was like, "Yeah, we have a great facility, you know, which helps us train." You know, we're the only ones practicing there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the city, they share one pool for like 6 or 7 teams, and there are teams practicing at like 4:45 in the morning.
Right.
I mean, like, I'm so thankful that we don't have that here, you know, and we just can have our practice time.
I think you said you're going to Stillwater. At the Y pool, right? So I mean, it is interesting when you look at it. But you know, you got a good program. You keep on growing it, and like I said, you're hoping to take further steps. 2 top 5 finishes last year, the boys and girls. And you talked about those individuals that you feel like are going to be big time medalists at state. And, you know, you get to the point, you don't want to say you're disappointed in them, but they would be disappointed themselves if they're not on the podium.
For sure. And, you know, like, I know Maddie and Jess, like, they have their eyes set on, you know, winning again, and that's great. But, you know, like, when you win, you have target on your back. Like, people are like, you know, that's the person to beat. And so that's another, like, whole nother set of, like, expectations on yourself. So, but they handled that well. They've been swimming a long time. But and Lila, you know, Lila has been swimming great. She's my freshman, and she has, you know, top 8, I think, even top 4 in some things. I think she could do.
Well, and also with swimming, now sometimes you get into your distances, there may be a big gap between first, second, third, fourth. But you know, in your shorter distances, it's not necessarily the case. So just one bad outing, which means maybe 1/100th of a second, is the difference in finishing first, and 1/10 of a second is different in first and not even being, you know, on the podium.
Yeah, for sure. And that's like for the 50s and the 100s, which was Maddie and Jess, you know, like 100 breast for Jess and 50 for Maddie, and Maddie even with the 100 free and Jess with the 100 fly. Those races are, I mean, like, you're talking 10s, 100s. I mean, 1/100th, you can't even fathom how fast that is. And to either win or lose by that, I mean, that can be heartbreaking or the best feeling of your life, right. You know, like, so either way. But yeah, it's crazy that our sport is just, it's so finite. You know?
Yeah, and when you like I said, you take advantage, you enjoy when you have those moments, because just because you had that moment last year and you maybe expected this year, like I said, those margins are so small that one bad outing or, you know, one bad start in those sprints, you're done.
Yeah. I mean, Maddie and I talk about that all the time with her 50. I'm like, you know, if her start is off or she does something different.
How about a scratch?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, anything can happen that can change the whole trajectory of your race. You miss your wall, whatever. Yeah. I mean, and in a 50, it's so finite. Like, you have to swim it perfect. And that's so hard to do. And it's just so mentally daunting as well. You know?
One thing to kind of get into the coaching aspect of it, and I like to learn about stuff, but you know, you teach the swim, and I think most people, you're going to shave off hundreds of seconds here and there, knowing how to, you know, reach and pull, you know, when to break, things like that. That's something that the people that are really good and swim competitively do different than maybe your average swimmer, right? But I think where the intricacies really get big, and the thing I would think would be interesting to coach, is the starts and the turns. Because to me, when I look at Olympic swimming or I look at competitive swimming, those starts and turns, a lot of times, these swimmers, there's only so much the body can do, especially in those mid to short races. So those turns and those starts, that's the difference in winning or losing.
For sure. And that's the stuff that, like, you know, it's crazy that you bring that up, because this last month I always tell them, like, we're really going to focus on the small things, the starts, the turns, the finishes, you know, where you take your breaths or how long your streamline is. I mean, you could go on, but it's just those little things like what you mentioned. And this month is the month to really, really focus on that. More important than training. I mean, training is important, but really focusing, having a practice that's very calculated, and you're really thinking about all those small things, because a race can come down to a 100th of a second, right?
Yeah, and the key of always in any sport is to get them when they're not thinking about it while they're out there swimming. It's just almost that natural instinct and reaction. You're going to beat that into them so much in the pool and practice that they're going to go out there and they're just going to do that naturally all of a sudden.
Right. And a big thing that we talk about is practice like you want to compete, lazy practice habits. You're not going to get in and do something completely different than what you do at practice every day. So it's like it's making those practice habits that the way you want to compete in a meet. So
well, I would imagine when it comes to swimming, no matter what, you're either going to be a little better than your time yesterday or a little worse.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? I don't think there's any way possible when we're talking hundreds of seconds, you're going to be exactly the same every time. So to me, that's motivation. You can really see if you're getting better or worse every day.
And like it's, we come off of winter break training, and January is always kind of a rough month just because like they're so broke down. They want to be going their best times. It's hard to pop a best time just where we are in our training cycle. And they get so stuck on like, I went a tenth slower. I'm like, it's a tenth. You're right on your best. I say like a second, 2 seconds. If you can do that time and time again, you're doing something right. Now 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds. Okay, like we got to do something different here.
Right.
But if you're hung up on just like a tenth, 100th, and sometimes Maddie can play like can really get into that just because her race, the beast of what it is. And other swimmers can too, but we've had some long talks about especially her 50, and it's just like you can really beat yourself up and really go down a rabbit hole, and I'm like, it's with all of them it's okay, like a tenth, it's okay, you're right on your best, So
that's that would be the thing. It may be hard to realize that, but a tenth, you're right there close. I mean, once again, 100's hard to fathom. 10th is still pretty hard to fathom when you think about it.
I mean, even half a second, you get even to half a second. That's hard to imagine too.
Yeah. So, well, anything else before we let you go? I know we're just, like I said, getting into championship season, so it's down the final stretch. I know we'll talk to you some more probably before regionals and states hit, but it's upon us.
Yeah, I'm excited. We have conference next Tuesday. I forgot to mention that. I'm really excited about that. I think the girls are this year going to really they can really pull off winning conference this year, and I'm excited as long as everything comes together. But we should. I mean, what I've seen with the teams that we've raced in our conference, we should go out there and win a conference championship, which would be really cool, and really cool for those senior girls to get leaving. So hopefully that will happen.
Well, best of luck. We'll be
you.
keeping up with it and looking forward to another successful finish coming up this season. So, Coach, really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Coach Heather Harris with swimming here with Ponca City. I want to say thanks to Chris behind the camera. Thanks to the sponsors as well for Ponca City Athletics. That'll do it. Jordan Woodruff saying so long. And until next time, go Cats.